you can take all your scenarios, what great looks like, but tighten it up and try and get the prompt to be conversational, realistic, and tight, really short. And our coaching agent will help you do that. Brett, what would you add?
Yeah, no, I think you said it right. I think, at a certain point, if you're too verbose in the prompts that you're writing, you're almost strangling the AI with the prompt, right? There's diminishing returns on the effectiveness of over describing, and it actually starts working against you, or it actually you wind up with a result that feels less authentic, less realistic, less organic, and at a certain point, that's not the outcome that you're looking for.
Hello, my name is Eli Cohen. I'm the CEO of SalesHood. Excited to be here for the Sales Coaching Reimagined with Agentic AI launch webinar. We have a lot to show you today. I'm joined by my amazing colleagues, Danica Schwartz, recently married. Woohoo! Say hi.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Amazing. And our SVP product, the one and only Brett McBee-Wise. Please say hello.
Hey, everybody.
We have a great agenda, and here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to paint a picture of the future of sales. We're going to show you what the world is like now, an agentic AI world. We've got it's just incredible how fast this is going. And then we're going to dive in and go into one specific area of agentic, the agentic world of sales. We're going to dive into AI coaching, show you the latest, greatest role playing, show you the latest, greatest what we've got going on. And then, we're gonna do a full demo. And Danica's gonna show us. We've been busy. We've been busy with releases. We've been busy with innovations. Our customers have been busy. We got a lot to show you. And then we're gonna close this out with benchmarks and insights. I welcome each and every one of you. Please use the chat. We're gonna monitor it, and we're gonna provide answers to your questions. And let's get going. So here we go. The age of AI for sales. It's just like, I can't believe how fast this is going. And we are still in the early innings here, folks. Early days. So I'm going to ask you a question. What if every person in your go-to-market team, what if they could multiply their impact by 10x? Not by working harder, not by adding hours, not by staying away from their families, but by working with intelligence that scales, doing more with less, right? This is all about scale. This is all about agency. And listen, each and every one of you that's here, a lot of you are customers, a lot of you are enablement practitioners, a lot of you are in the go-to-market function. And this isn't about replacing our jobs. This is about working smarter. And so I'm really excited that you're here because what we want you to lean into the agentic way of doing business, right? It's here and now it's up to us as professionals to learn, to innovate together. And this is why we love our community and we love that we're working with each and every one of you. And I've been on a journey myself. I've been learning a lot about AI and agentic AI, and I've been inspired. I read a book a little while ago called Super Agency. And this is here because I want each and every one of you, you should be reading this book because Reid Hoffman is a visionary. Reid Hoffman, for those that don't know, he's a founder of LinkedIn and he sits on the Microsoft board, OpenAI board, and he wrote a book, a very optimistic book about kind of the future. And he looks across a variety of industries, healthcare, government, technology, telecommunications. He looks at he really paints his vision of the world. What's it going to be like working with doctors? What's it going to be like solving major issues like starvation? But as I read the book, I was kind of taking notes and I was taking notes and I was asking myself, okay, what does this mean for sales? What does this mean for sales enablement? What does this mean for frontline managers? What does this mean for marketing? What does it mean for the go-to-market function? And so I encourage you to read the book. I encourage you to check out his podcast as well, Super Agency. So agency is a word that you're going to hear us talk a lot about. Brett's going to talk about agency and how we're delivering agency through the platform. You're going to see agency in action from Danica when she's going to go through. We got a bunch of benchmarks to share later. But as I thought about agency and super agency, and I thought about, okay, what does agency mean for us? What does it mean for salespeople, for managers, enablement leaders? And it means that we will be able to act faster and create more impact. We really are. And those of us that are leaning into AI today, that are using the tools and resources available to you, you are making a bigger impact and you are going faster. And you're now effectively a super agent. And so as I think about all the different roles, salespeople gain more agency by practicing and learning and getting access to tools like an agentic search so they can finally find the information that they need. Think about the problem of enablement. The problem of enablement is, too much content, too much training. You got to figure out, exactly, what training, what content is going to, be directed to the salesperson. This whole just in time is super hard. It's been hard for us, right? We got to figure out exactly what training, what content. And now with an agentic layer, we're able to deliver the right content at the right time, the right coaching, giving reps the right answers. It's incredible. We're going to give managers, think about the problem with managers. Did they ever really do the coaching the way we wanted them to? No disrespect. Did they ever go in and really score those pitches? We had this great vision of them, but they're not. So now AI is doing it with them, for them. Enablers, God, it's so hard building programs. Now we're enabling you to build programs faster, like in days and hours. And our customers are seeing programs being rolled out 3 times faster. And now leadership is, with the help of agentic AI, is being able to make decisions and gaining strategic agency. So I'm challenging each of you to think about your worlds and how you're integrating agency to how you do business and how you collaborate with other members on the go-to-market teams. I'm really pumped up in this agentic world. And listen, SalesHood is an agentic AI revenue enablement platform. We're all about equipping go-to-market teams with the right answers, personalized coaching, and the insights, buyer insights that they need. For what reason? So they can win more, make a bigger impact, and effectively, exceed all their revenue goals. From day one, this is what we've been missioned to do. And the agentic AI layer has enabled us to do it faster. And so right now, when we walk you through SalesHood, SalesHood is made up of some amazing, amazing building blocks. We have an AI assistant with coaching agents, content agents, deal agents, and buying agents. It's incredible. Today, we're focusing in on the coaching agent. Our application layer is recognized as a leader by Gartner. Content management, learning management, sales playbooks, digital sales rooms, and then we've got the insights so you can prove what's working, know what's working, and then ultimately an ecosystem of integrations and content and partners so that way you can scale your business. So really excited, and so this is where we are today, and I've invited Brett. Been with us for 4+ years. Brett's an amazing, amazing leader, and he's transformed SalesHood, and so excited about what he's done to the business and what he's delivered to each and every one of our customers. But he's going to walk us through the future of agentic and AGI for sales, and then he's going to dive in and show us the amazing innovations that him and his team has done. So, Brett, please take it away.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. So our vision, at SalesHood is to create an artificial general intelligence that's built specifically for revenue teams that can enable them on what they need to do their jobs every day. And so that could be anything from, finding the right content to share or reinforcing training concepts before their next big meeting, identifying, the next steps or drafting email communication or interpreting and, buyer behavior and forecasting a deal. And, you know, we want to wind up with a solution where really the interface really melts away and you're just interacting with an assistant that's built specifically for you and is there to help you do your job every day. And this journey for us really began back in early 2020, and with the invention of AI pitch practice, which we released in 2021. And I think today is all about kind of celebrating the next set of feature milestones on our journey to kind of get to this vision. And so we've got some exciting things to share with you today. Do you want to go to the next slide there? Awesome. So pretty early in 2025, we set out on this mission of, how do we create the industry leading standard feature set for practicing high stakes, conversations using simulated conversations with, the invention of an AI role play solution. And we had a number of sort of standards that we set for ourselves when we set out to build this AI role play feature set. And those were that it had to strike the right balance of realism, control, reliability, and simplicity. Emphasis on simplicity. We didn't want to build something that you need an engineering team to stand up for you to get value out of. And so pretty early on, what we focused on, we released an MVP in phase one in early 2025. And we really focused on, just, ease of use for creating those scenario definitions for the conversations that you want to practice, really nailing the conversational performance, so that it feels like a fluid conversation and really getting good quality general feedback for the users that were taking it. And so we partnered with our customers. We had a closed beta and open beta. We really, partnered with them closely to make sure that we nailed that phase of implementation. And we saw, okay, well, we proved that, we can provide a ton of value really quickly for our customers and really move the needle and help shape their teams. And so moving on to phase two, really mid-year, towards the sort of the back half of the year, we're really focused on how do we nail that user experience? How do we make it even easier as we continue to sort of add feature sets and make this thing more flexible? And so we made it, really easy to think about, how are you configuring a role play pre, during, and post role play? So, what are the things that your team needs to know before they do something? How do we configure the agent during the role play? And then how do we think about what happens after the fact when they're getting that feedback? And so we really overhauled the user experience there. And then we really focused on how do we give organizations control over the quality of that feedback? How do we let them personalize that feedback and contextualize it for their business? And so we added a ton of great features there to control the coaching feedback that's delivered to folks after they do a role play, and then really making sure that the questions and objections that are being delivered throughout the role play are contextually relevant to their business and giving them control over that. And then that kind of brings us to how we closed out the year. And it really became all about reliability and measurability. And so we ended up, releasing a ton of new AI avatars and voices, which maybe some folks on the call haven't seen today, which Danica is gonna show you. We improved the voice models so they're even more realistic. And then we focused on measurability. So how do we not just have qualitative feedback, but how do we deliver quantitative feedback so that you can really track your team's progress over time with numerical scores and all of the controls that kind of surround that. And then the last thing that we did was really focus on how do we make sure that this is, this product, this feature set is really ready to support the world's largest customers. It needs to be reliable, it needs to be quick. And so I'm proud to say that we built something that can support the world's largest Fortune 500 and 100 companies, which is pretty incredible for a company of our size. So yeah, I think Danica is going to give you a sneak preview of how all of this is kind of culminated in a rich role play solution, and we're excited to share it with you.
Can't wait for the demo. Before we leave the demo, I do want to say congratulations, Brett, to you and our product team and our engineers and to our customers who have been leaning in and applying the Agentic AI coaching to their businesses. And just big round of applause. Thank you for all your amazing work. It really could not have done this without you. The vision, the execution. I'm curious, before we go to the demo, if we can just spend a minute, we've got some great customer stories. I believe, there's Amy Pence from Disco. There's some great success that she's experiencing. Our friends at Star Compliance have seen dramatic lifts in win rates. We've got Copado, John Guerriere has seen amazing lifts in messaging readiness. Brett, and so we've got some great quantifiable benefits that our customers are realizing. I'm going to talk about some of them later. Brett, what are some, qualitative feedback that you're hearing? Like how are customers engaging with the AI coaching agents, with AI role playing? How are they liking it? What are you hearing? What are you seeing and hearing?
Yeah, I mean, I think speed to value is a big one. I think, we had a hypothesis that, and you had mentioned it earlier on in this call, but, this entire feature was really invented because there wasn't enough participation from managers, and we needed to kind of fill that void. And something sort of interesting happened as we partnered with some customers. They mentioned, well, now that I've done this, my managers want to be more involved, right? They want to be more involved in giving the feedback. They want to be more involved in helping craft the next role play that we're going to set up for our teams. And so it was sort of interesting that we wound up in a place where it actually had the opposite effect. It wasn't filling a void for managers. It actually got managers more involved. And it really offloaded, I think, some of the burden on managers. It really took a lot of the sort of the mundane aspects of giving feedback and sort of quantitative things that you're looking for, the basic checkboxes that you're looking for in these conversations, and so that they could focus on some of the more abstract concepts and how they want to give coaching to their teams. So I think that was really amazing, and it really helped teams focus on some of these more complex problems. Like how do you enable your team to, you know, um, do proper discovery and then connect that to the correct, customer story that ties to the discovery that you just did to deliver an amazing story that conveys the value of your product. And I think that's what, a feature like this allows you to do as part of a structured training for your team, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, I completely agree. The manager focus is so great to highlight. I think we're seeing, some of our customers, managers are kind of shifting 20 to 25 hours a month from
Mhm.
the regular administrative kind of repetitive coaching that they would give people, like how to handle objections or, how to prep for a call, right? And now you can flip that to the AI role play and give that coaching just in time, real time to the salespeople and enabling, as you said, the managers to be able to focus on more strategic coaching, the strategic deal reviews and strategic one-on-ones, performance reviews. And so it's been incredible. Anyway, I'm really excited, as someone who'd been doing enablement a long time ago, and we went from kind of with the AI coaching specifically, we went from the stand and deliver being in person, flying around the world to automating it with the video submission to now being completely autonomous in an agentic world. It's just been incredible to see the transition over the decades. And we're finally solving it. Like it's crazy. Like it's no excuses. No, like now salespeople are leaning in, they're getting the feedback that they've always wanted. We're equipping salespeople with the answers, with agentic search, with the coaching, with the agentic coaching, and then with the insights, with the agentic selling. I'm so excited. But today, the highlight today is a role play. And it's amazing. And all this great innovation is great. And the one and only Danica is going to walk us through the um, the demo, and I can't wait for everyone to see it. So Danica, please take it away. I'm going to stop sharing and let you
Yeah.
take over. And thank
Yep.
you again, Brett. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. Congratulations. All right. I am excited to walk you through setting up a role play, kind of what to expect. As I walk through this demo, I clearly have a head start creating my training. For the role play, we're really going to focus on objection handling. So I'm going to split this up into two parts. First, you're really going to see like the back end building side. This is you all, the customers, enablement directors that are building out the role play experience for the team. And then I'm also going to show you the rep side. So you see what this build actually translates to for your reps and their experience with the role play. Now, jumping into my huddle here, I've already started building out that training framework. I have a couple modules that come before that role play just to make sure I'm preparing reps and giving them all the necessary information and training prior to them applying that information to the role play. So I have leadership overview, some objection handling obstruction instructions, what to expect as they go throughout the training. I have a guide so they understand how to handle the objection and what the messaging is for that objection, what good looks like. And then here's where they start mapping out the objection in their own words. They get their thoughts on paper, they practice it in our pitch module, one directional. And then once they have all that practice and information, they apply it to the role play. Now, setting up a role play is really easy. We break it up for you in three chunks. We have our pre-role play. This is where you write in those rep-facing instructions. We have our during role play. This is where you really develop that role play experience and define that scenario, the meat of it all. Then you have the post role play. So as we start mapping it out, we make it really easy and we guide you through that setup process. So starting with the pre-role play, we just have, like I said, that rep-facing instructions. We even give you a quick example here if you need inspiration. You can attach any resources. These are supplementary resources a rep can preview prior to the role play and kind of refresh really quickly before they dive right in. And then we go to the during role play. Like I said, this is really the meat of it all when it comes to building out that role play. And we map it out for you start to finish. So starting at the top, we have various languages that you can select the role play. So obviously we're doing English, but there's a variety of different languages that you can choose from. Then we have the user persona. Now, you might hear me refer to the user throughout my demo today. When I say the user, I'm really talking about your reps, the users that are going through this experience. So we're mapping out who the users or who your reps are. So in this training, it's going to be an AE at SalesHood. And then we get to the fun part. This is where you really build out the role play and what their persona is. So you can come up with a name, the job title, come up with a company. And as Brett mentioned, we've really diversified the different avatars you can select from. So that way you can kind of have different personas for different use cases of role plays that you're sending your reps through. And it just adds a little bit more of a dynamic element for the role play and a fresh new face to be chatting with as your role plays are assigned out to your users. Not only do we have different avatars, we have different voices, which is fun. So we have both male and female voices, and you can preview them.
Hi, who am I speaking to?
So it's kind of fun. There's a variety of different ones.
Hi, who am I speaking to?
So it's great. You can kind of preview all the different ones. I'm going to start with Shimmer because that's a fun one. So once you kind of mapped out the persona and how you want them to look and how you want them to sound and their title and their name, then we really jump into the scenario. This is where you're building and defining what that role play experience will look like for your users when they're talking back and forth with the role play. So a quick, easy formula, like I mentioned before, we already have a quick little example for you to refer to. But a quick formula is the user's role, the role play's role, some context about the role play, maybe their industry they work in, what problems they're trying to solve, any additional context, and then the user's goal. Follow that formula really quickly, about 4 to 5 sentences will get you where you need to be for a high quality role play with a scenario that's clearly defined. Now, as we're thinking about the specific skill we're targeting in this role play, we're going to target objection handling. Here in the interactions, we can get more specific and granular with what we want the role play to be saying throughout the role play experience. So, starting with that opening statement, this is just that first thing, the first phrase the role play says when the role play is like begins, when the rep hits start role play. This is the first statement that the role play says to your user. And then you can start mapping out additional guidelines for the conversation. You can see I have both a question and an objection. You can pick which one or whatever combo. And since we're focusing on objection handling, I've selected an objective that I really want our reps to be focused on for this specific role play. Now, you can have more than one objection, you can have more than one question. It depends on how you want to set it up, but this is the opportunity to provide parameters of what you want the role play to be saying and integrate this into the conversational flow with the rep. So that's kind of the meat of it all. And then finally, and then I'll pause, we have the post role play. So you've designed this role play experience with guidelines, with objections, tailoring it for the reps. Now, when we're thinking about the reps coming out of the role play, what are we providing them in terms of coaching? This is where the AI coaching feedback guidance comes into play. The rep has finished the role play and they have not only feedback and coaching, but they also have scores. So they have clearly defined understanding of how well they performed during the role play, but they also can understand what the expectations are and where those areas of improvements are for those specific skills that they're tackling, like handling an objection. So starting from the top, we have that overall feedback. This is just general feedback on the rep's overall performance that you can tailor. And then when we're thinking about drilling down and getting more specific and targeting those skills, you can see that objection that I implemented in the guidelines during role play has an area for me to give guidelines for how I want that feedback to be structured. So the rep handles the objection, they click submit, they get feedback on it, and you can tailor what that feedback experience looks like and says in this section of the back end when you're building it. That's the way we're really intentional with our reps. They're getting the coaching, everything's on message and aligned to your methodology. And you can ensure that there's consistency with the coaching across all of your reps because they're all going through this together. Now, not only do they have the coaching and feedback element in the post role play, they also have the scoring. So the scoring is really simple to break out. You can see I have two different pieces to my rubric. I have objection handling and value articulation. Super easy. I can come in here, title, description, where I'm like maybe outlining a little bit more detail of this skill. And then here's where you build out the rubric and the success criteria that gets a user to 100%. You can select a 3-point scale, pass fail, 4 or 5 point scale, so you have some flexibility, and you can mix and match depending on what your priorities for that rubric are. So here I have a 3-point scale for objection handling, pass or fail for value articulation. Now, when we're talking about getting managers involved, we don't just have AI scoring available. We also give managers the opportunity to come in and provide any grades. You can pull subject matter experts in there and provide grades. That way, you're getting immediate feedback and grading for the reps right away after they finish the role play. And then you come over top with managers, subject matter experts coming in and also providing feedback and grading for the reps on your team. So you get both layers, but reps no longer have to wait around. Managers can come and grade asynchronously. Regardless, reps have a clear understanding of the expectations. They have coaching available for them. They understand what the grading is, and they can monitor and adjust their talk tracks and really zero in on their skills of objection handling with the right information without having to wait. This is the view of your users or your reps going through the role play. When they get to the role play module, they have those clear instructions of what to expect because you've outlined them. For the reps can come in here and see the scorecard. So there's a clear definition of what they should be able to do and how they're measured on their performance during the role play so that they jump into the role play understanding already what to expect and what is needed for them to pass or fail or get an excellent. So I am going to put on my best AE hat here. Tristan is notoriously difficult to book a meeting with. And because I'm practicing AI, objection handling, I'm going to walk through the demo. It's going to be about 2 minutes long. So what I want you all to listen to is that interaction, that initial one that we've set up, and listen for those guidelines and objections in the conversation with the rep. And then it'll be really interesting to see how the scores and the feedback play in after my performance. So from the rep's perspective, I'm going to jump right in and start this role play.
I only have a few minutes to talk. Tell me a little more about SalesHood.
Yeah, Tristan, listen, I really appreciate you taking the time with me today. To be brief, SalesHood is an agentic AI-driven revenue enablement platform that's really purpose-built and designed to drive repeatable revenue impact quarter over quarter. Now, I'm just really curious, how are you certifying your revenue enablement teams today, or your revenue teams today? Pardon me.
We've got a solution in place already. We use a tool that certifies our teams, and it's been working fine. I'm not interested in switching tools right now. But what I want to know is, what measurable impact does SalesHood deliver beyond what another tool provides?
Yeah, great question. And I understand that you have a tool already in place, but to share a little bit more about SalesHood, SalesHood really is that end-to-end enablement platform driven by agentic AI. So the agentic AI is built throughout many areas of SalesHood for your reps to leverage. And that really transforms how reps are finding content, digesting it, how they're interacting with the information, how they're practicing their conversational confidence, how they're sharing information, and how they're getting a better understanding of buyer engagement. All of that is leading to that quantifiable revenue impacts, all while integrating with a lot of tools that you might already have in your tech stack. So when it comes to more quantifiable information, I'd love to share two customer stories, Smart Recruiters and Capato. They're seeing anywhere from a 50 to 200% increase in win rates. And more specifically, Smart Recruiters is seeing a 400% increase in deal size and a 15% increase in deal velocity. I'm curious, what would a 400% increase in deal size mean for your business today?
I hear you, and those numbers are certainly impressive. But let me be clear. We've got a tool that's doing the job for certifying our teams. What I need to understand is exactly how SalesHood would go beyond that. Can you break down what's truly different in terms of measurable outcomes, something that our current tool can't achieve?
Yeah, I can certainly do that. Now, Tristan, I know you mentioned you're short on time. I really want to understand your business priorities and get a better understanding of how you're leveraging and rolling out enablement today and how SalesHood could partner with your teams to allow you to realize 400% increases in deal size. How about we find time, maybe Friday at 2 p.m.? We can dive a little bit deeper, and I'm happy to share some materials ahead of the call to give you information and additional metrics for you to review ahead of our call. How does that sound?
All right. I appreciate your persistence. Let's do this. Send me those materials first. I want to see the specifics on how you're achieving those outcomes. Then, if it looks compelling, we can set up that follow-up for Friday at 2 p.m. I'm open to learning more, but it's got to be clear how this would drive measurable lift beyond what we already have.
All right, I'm going to stop there. Turn my camera back on. Now, what's happening is there's an evaluation on my role play performance occurring. So we're scanning my role play and see how I score. Okay, got a 75%. Now, the value add for the seller is they can come in here and understand where they really did a great job and where they can tighten up their talk track, get a little bit more concise with that tailored feedback. So a rep, I come in here and I said, all right, I was really persistent, which is great, but I can improve by directly addressing those specific objections a little bit more clear. So for me as a rep, that's information that's gold. I understand exactly where I need to tighten up my talk track and can go and apply this. I also have detailed, tailored feedback on those specific objections provided for me, where maybe I need to address how SalesHood uniquely surpasses current solutions in measurable ways. That allows me to come back to the drawing board as a rep, tailor my talk track, like I said, get more clear and concise, review any documentation. But the benefit is I am doing this as a rep in a low risk environment where I can come in here, learn, grow, build my confidence, build my skill set, understanding my score and how I performed. And I'm doing this ahead of actually doing it on a live call with a prospect. So I can build my confidence, get specific messaging that or get specific feedback that's on message, apply that, practice, reinforce, and then feel confident when I pick up the phone to cold call. And that's the value for the rep here is they have all this at their fingertips. And then once again, the manager can come over on top of this and provide additional coaching as well. But I have this information as a rep right now to continue to practice, and I can come back and retake it. I can watch my performance, or if I score well and I get 100% and I'm happy, I can submit this for manager review as well.
The value here is you've got this world-class purpose-built AI coaching agent that can now be available where? It can be available in your onboarding. It can be available in your playbooks. It can be available, when a rep logs into the system, it's on their homepage. There's access to these resources that they've never had access to before. And really taking the AI coaching agent and layering it across your go-to-market is what we're really leaning into here and want to ensure that we can drive that efficiency as you guys are trying to go faster in your businesses. Were there any other questions? I think so. Let me. There is a question from Amy. Is it possible to see how many times a rep practices a role play?
Yeah, definitely. So there's an initiative going on right now to provide a little bit better visibility and module level reporting across the huddle. So you're going to see some additional information coming out here in the first half of the
Amazing.
year.
The minimum score was a great addition, and the scoring was a great addition, and the ability to hide the pitches. Tell me about the settings that we have at the module level to support that.
Yeah, I mean, Danica, if you want to pop it back open, we
Mhm.
can look at that.
There was a question from Tim. Can we turn off the ability to see? Hey, Tim, can we turn off the ability to see other pitches until the rep? And so I'll let you guys go walk us through this.
Yeah, so I mean, you can select designated graders for who can, and subject matter experts for who can grade that pitch. If you just want it to be graded by AI only, or if you want it to be graded by AI and a manager, the system will select the highest score there, and so you get a lot of control there. And if you go to the actual settings as well, got a couple of things, not for the, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can. you can hide the activities, right? So they're only,
Yeah.
viewable by, the person and their manager as well. So a little bit more privacy in terms of, how much you get to dictate a little bit how much peer-to-peer sharing is going on within a huddle in general.
Totally, and at a learning path level as well through segments and groups. So there's a number of ways that you can restrict if you want to kind of provide, kind of that like if you want to reduce the visibility during certain times. It's I
Mhm.
think we've really been thoughtful about that, Brett. So and Danica, thank you. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm trying to think anything else that is interesting to highlight here. We could sit there and play with the voices. It's kind of fun to hear all the voices too. Um,
Yeah, there's a bunch to choose from. It was fun.
Yeah,
yeah,
and maybe
I
I'll point out one more thing that maybe wasn't totally clear and is connected to that question. So someone can practice as many times as they want before they decide to submit that for review. So Danica could have said, "Ah, it was a bad take. I'm going to do it again." And she could sit there and do that 5 times before she actually submits that for review. And then even after you submit something for review, you can also do multiple submissions. So you could say, "I can do a better job than that." Right. So lots
great
of
point.
lots of control. Yeah.
Really, really, really great point. Really great point. And I think there's another question, and then I'm going to go to sharing some of the insights and the benchmarks. But there's another question, and I think the answer is the enterprise readiness and the enterprise readiness that Brett and team have been working on over the last 3, 6, 9 months at the platform level as well as our agentic AI layer. But the question, I think can you see the question?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, so I can't name specific names of customers, but I can tell you that we have done a lot of work working with literally some of the largest Fortune 100 companies in the world who have the strictest security and compliance departments you could possibly imagine to make sure that what we've got is performant and secure, right? And so we don't. We make sure that your information is safe. We don't, train models with it. All of the ways that we connect to AI is done through our infrastructure. We're not connecting, directly from somebody's computer to, in this situation, to any third-party AI providers. That is done through our back end. So we've done a ton of work there to make sure that what we built and the way that we built this role play is secure.
Beautiful. I think we've covered a lot of questions, and anyone listening to the replay, if you look down below, we've included a number of resources for you, coaching prompt resources. I mentioned a couple amazing practitioners, Amy Pence. There's a link to Amy Pence's walkthrough of how her and her team at Disco rolled out AI role playing specifically to solve storytelling and to improve that skill set, and a whole bunch of more resources available to you. I want to take this moment. We've been focused on AI coaching and agentic AI coaching for a while. So we have a great collection of data, and I do, in addition to sharing the future of agentic AI for sales and showing the amazing innovations and the releases and the demo. Again, huge kudos to both of you and Danica, great live real-time demo. I do want to share some of the trends that we're seeing for a couple minutes. I think it's super interesting to see kind of what's happening out there. And so let me just go back into slideshow mode. And so in 2025, we had a lot of customers that leaned into, the AI coaching, AI role playing. And about 35,000 submissions, 1,000 coaching agents were built. And this data is for 9 months from January to September. And about 45 companies and 400 programs. I just want you to have an appreciation for what I'm about to show you in the scale, 3.5 million words, coaching words that were shared. And so that's kind of what last year. And so here's some of the aggregated outcomes and benefits that companies are realizing by leaning into agentic AI for coaching. Number one, programs are being rolled out 3 times faster. We can see that through the program creation, and we're able to compare programs rolled out with agentic AI role playing and leveraging AI to roll out programs faster with programs that were not. We could see that in the data. We saw a 45% increase in rep participation. So reps are more engaged. Managers are saving 24 hours per month. The improved proficiency, right? So when we talk about practicing a skill and then taking a step away and then coming back and practicing it again, we're seeing approximately 4 to 5 attempts when a salesperson is doing a practice. And when they're doing that practice, we're seeing a 30% improvement in the skill during those attempts. Pretty impressive, right? So they're leaning in, they're improving, self-developing their skills, and they're getting faster. Excuse me, they're getting better faster. Companies are rolling out messaging 40% faster, and reps are becoming conversationally ready 40% faster. And then the pipeline conversion is happening, 5 times more pipeline conversion. And then there's the lagging indicators that we're seeing specifically around win rates as well, which is strange. It's a lagging indicator, but it's great. Customers are seeing benefits from 25 to about 100% improvement in win rates. So I wanted folks to just appreciate that this isn't just a thing that we're doing. We're doing it to achieve outcomes. And we want to ensure that each and every one of you, whether you're a customer or not, that when you're rolling out your AI coaching initiatives and when you're rolling out your role-playing initiatives, tie it to specific, measurable, quantifiable outcomes that you're trying to deliver to your organization, and be clear on them, report on them back up, and we're here to support and help you do that. Now, when we talk about AI coaching agents, it's interesting to see what kind of AI coaching agents folks are building. 30% of the AI coaching, and this is again against all that data. Storytelling and executive presence represents about 30% of the AI coaching agents that are built. 20% is around negotiations. 15% is around value prop and just kind of core communications. 20% is on competitive positioning and objection handling, and then closing and urgency creation is around 15%. So we did an analysis. We looked at all the coaching prompts. We looked at all the setups, and we kind of came up with this summary data. It's what we're seeing in aggregate is we're moving beyond just standard pitch practice, and we're starting to go deep into the funnel. We're moving beyond just kind of the stage one, front of the funnel coaching activities, and we're seeing reps are practicing give get strategies. Reps are talking about business cases. We're talking about executive alignment, deep, deep, deep into the funnel. So just thought we would share these insights, and want to just give you a tip here as you're building your coaching prompts. Again, we've got the resources, we've got the coaching prompt builder, agent that Brett and team have built. You saw the UI that Danica walked us through, the pre, during, post. But as you're building your coaching prompts, listen, we want you to use SalesHood. We're here for you. But if I love giving folks a takeaway. When you are thinking about best practices in coaching prompt design, think about it in 3 parts. There is the context. Who are they, right? What problem are you trying to solve? What's the learner's role? That's the pre that Danica showed. What's the character, right? How do you want them to act? Tone, behavior. Are they nice? Are they mean? Are they hardcore? Like whatever the specific tone is you want. You can programatize the AI now to get it to behave a certain way. I think your person, Danica, was kind of nice, right? We could have dialed that up a little bit too, right? And made that be a little worse. And then what are the realistic cues? Right. And then you want to think about what are the specific coaching feedback that you want to give them? What skills should you focus on? What skills should you practice? What did you do well? What did you not do well? What does good sound like? Right. You can put that in to the questions and the objections. And listen, I think less is more here. I'll let Brett add a couple words on this as well. I think, the long kind of crazy prompts when we get into this specific moment, you can take all your scenarios, what great looks like, but tighten it up. And try and get the prompt to be conversational, realistic, and tight, really short. And our coaching agent will help you do that. Brett, what would you add?
Yeah, no, I think you said it right. I think, at a certain point, if you're too verbose in the prompts that you're writing, you're almost strangling the AI with the prompt, right? There's diminishing returns on the effectiveness of over describing, and it actually starts working against you, or it actually you wind up with a result that feels less authentic, less realistic, less organic, and at a certain point, that's not the outcome that you're looking for.
I hadn't thought of that metaphor. You're strangling the AI.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. I
I
mean,
feel it. I feel it. You're strangling it from actually delivering on what you're trying to do on the coaching experience, the learning experience. Wow. I love it. Okay. I don't love being strangled, but I know what you mean. It's a great metaphor. All right. So as we wrap, I just want to invite everyone. If you are a sales customer and you need more resources, we've got a community, we've got a Slack channel. We're here for you, and let us know we can support you. If you haven't started using the coaching prompt builder agent, you should But please reach out to your customer success person, reach out to me. We'll make sure you get the right resources. We will do a follow-up with some of the resources we mentioned here, like the 25 AI coaching prompts and some of the other best practices like the AI role-playing guide that we have. And if anyone is newer to SalesHood or watching this replay and you like a demo, there's a link down below. Please, we'd love to walk you through it and invite you to a trial. I think we there's a lot of AI out there. There's a lot of different tools and systems out there. The thing about ours is it's purpose built and it works fast. And so if you said you wanted to run a trial tomorrow, we'd get a hood set up for you and we would kind of collaborate with you to kind of provide you some input and guidance on writing the scenario the right way. We get your team in there and you could just as fast as Danica was able to go into publish mode, edit it. That's how fast we can get you going and you can start realizing the benefits yourselves. We want to deliver value to your teams, but B, we want you to realize the benefits of going faster with your teams. And sales is purpose built to equip teams with the right answers, with personalized coaching and buyer insights. And one of our big values is speed and ease of use, adoption, speed, and impact and value. And that's what we pride ourselves in. I'm going to ask Danica and Brett share any final words, a tip, final takeaway before we wind this thing down, and then we'll do Q&A for folks that want to share additional questions.
No, I hope we demysticized the potential, for using AI coaching features a little bit today. And I think if there's one thing that you take away from this call, it's that it's easy to get started and you can have a huge impact on your team.
I would just follow up and piggyback off of what Brett said. You can get this up and rolling really quickly. If you ever need any support or have questions, the SalesHood team is happy to support. The resources are phenomenal. We have pre-written prompts to give you some inspiration. Lean into those, try them out, and map them back to a priority program that you want to roll out and kick off the year strong with some role plays for your teams.
Our customer success team is the best in the business. We're here to support you. I want to thank everyone for joining us today, for sharing the excitement we have around our innovations, for hearing our view of the future of AGI for sales, and really celebrating with us how we are reimagining sales coaching, reimagining sales enablement in a new world with agentic AI. So thank you, everyone.